What's going on YouTube? It's your buddy Will from the What's Up in the Sky 37 channel. We're online at www.whatsupinthesky.com, and you're looking at a relatively new picture coming off the Curiosity rover here for today. What's today? Today is Tuesday, March 25th, and what we've got here is this is just what it's just started annoying me so much. The blurriness of this picture to begin with just ticks me off. $2 billion down the drain. Not down the drain. We got a lot of pictures back, but $2 billion, and we're getting these pictures back. And I'm going to show you how NASA hides things. And it's a very simple thing that they're doing to hide some of the stuff in these pictures. That I'm not going to go into the color hiding because I've done that in a lot of my other videos. And I've also talked about this in a lot of other videos. But in this picture, they really show it off how they do it, and it works very well to hide some of the anomalies in it. And right off the bat, I want to show you some of the stuff down here. Like we've got this ornate piece here along with some things right here. I'm sure you're starting to look at it. We got a little duck thing right here or whatever, but how they're doing it is they're putting in these vertical lines, and you can see them wherever there's something good. You get these lines, and they're colored lines. How they put them in. You can see them in this. Okay, here's a very good example. I would say something really good was probably right here. You can see there's symmetry here, symmetry all over it. The colors change a little bit, but see how it's like a blind effect? Basically, say the width of my, actually is about that. It's the width of my, the cursor there, the center of each one of those little lines. It's like this. And they just stack them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across, whatever they want to cover. See, this right here looks like something perfect that come back. Watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's what they're doing to hide stuff. And it works pretty easy because it blends in stuff, especially things like hieroglyphics, um, perfect corners they're trying to get rid of. I mean, anything that stands out under the gun, under the at first they didn't have people doing this. People weren't scrutinizing them like they were at first. Now they really have to go in there. That's why the pictures gotten blurry. They add that one color to it, the color that I basically with this. Here's the color right here. Here's what I think they're adding to it right there in general. Hope that didn't make you guys sick, but let me go ahead and show you. Let me basically take the color and say this is in Photoshop now. You can see I've got the actual photo. It's right here. You can download this directly from the website. Go to my description. It's going to be there. I always link everything. And you're going to see some of the trash that's just laying around Mars. There's some pretty neat things are here. Looks like a top to something here. A very interesting ornate piece that's actually like a roped out and things like that. Perfect blocks, perfect half circle blocks. And halfway, I'm just starting to beginning to think that maybe there was a huge civilization on Mars and maybe a very small civilization. Maybe even beings that to us are very very small. I mean, Mars is 1/3. I believe it's like 1/3 smaller than Earth, or something 1/3 the size of Earth. Um, but they're maybe very small beings, and that's why we see like this huge architecture. But then we find these little pockets that look like this kind of looks like a little mini city. Um, and when you start, like I said, here's where they show you they use these blind effects. So let me just get in real tight so you can actually see it even better. How it comes through here. They're not JPEG artifacts because they're only put in when they're put in. And this whole area is amazing. This looks like there's been a bunch of statues that have broken here. And here's another effect right here, the blur tool. See this right here? There was some sort of circle thing that came in here and they wanted to blur this out. So they blurred from here and they T-blurred down. Look at that. They just basically went blur, blur, and it's gone. Um, Now let me go ahead and change the color of it a little bit to make it stand out. And we'll play a little bit with um, because there's a lot here, and we'll play a little bit with the gamma. And just to maybe try and touch it up just a little bit. Alright, maybe give it a little exposure here a little bit. I don't want to go too much. I don't want to, I want to give it enough so we can see a lot of the edges a little bit more. Because you're never going to beat the blurriness. And I'm hoping that like Olympus Sky, one of my buddies on here will download this. He's really good at taking this junk off of it and figuring out what exactly it is behind it. But to me, I see all sorts of signs of civilization in this picture. I could sit here for probably an hour and go over, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to go over. I've got like 6 or 7 videos I want to make. I haven't been here for like the last 5 days online. I just needed to take a little break. Um, that and I had a whole bunch of stuff to get done. Springs are coming, even though it's snowing outside. I don't know if you could see it. It was 72 degrees the other day, but now it's snowing. But check some of these out. Check a lot of the symmetry in here, but this right here was cool. This was the first block I noticed was right here. And how it almost looks like it was a perfect block. And everything looks like it had some sort of heat applied to it when everything jumbled up here on Mars. And then it has this very interesting, like, carving in it that's kind of ornate. And when you see it up along here, like I thought like it looks like there's some carvings in here, or maybe some symbols or something like that. You get these blinds, like right here. See how it's got this little turn to it? You get it. Um, this three was brought my eyes really quick because it also has up here some things like that. You know, they look like they're actual strung out or something like that, and it was cooled that way. I mean, that definitely looks like a three or a W. If you want to go that route, just to my eyes, you know. Now down here, this kind of looks like a duck right here. I thought that was cool. I don't think it's a duck because I look at the other pictures and it didn't move or anything like that. But who's to say it's not? These aren't just a bunch of statues. It almost looks like something blew up a funeral pyre or something here. I mean, it's something where it's like, what is it? Basically, where they bring all the jewels, maybe like a those mounds, you know, burial mounds, where you get to the center of the mound. They have them all over Europe and all over the old places that, you know, in the middle there's treasures. Um, but check this stuff out. It's like masks and stuff like that. That looks like a head to me, like a mask. Here, I'm gonna hit this one real quick. Image, just auto tone it a little bit. Image, contrast. See how it looks like it's just a piece and it's just turned up in the air right there. It just looks like it was some sort of mask or something along those lines. And I'm just giving it, like I said, I see what I see, you see what you see. Um, None of this thing is, I'm not doing this scientific, you know, I'm just showing you what I think's happening and why I think, see, this stuff looks very interesting to me. And wherever there's something really interesting, like right above, you know, where you see these perfect looking blocks that were either look like they were worked out of the stone, and like right here, you can just see the difference between the two blurs. Like, why on a real picture would there be a difference between two blurs? And NASA's like they call these raw files, and they're not raw files. They come. Anybody who's into photography knows what a raw file is. It's not a JPEG file, and it definitely looks nothing like this. You know, they would come down much bigger files. Let's see what we can do with this thing. They just kind of look like a baseball bat or like a little small one. And another thing that NASA does, they don't give you the scale on anything, so you never get the scale. Um, this one was cool. I thought this was interesting. This caught my eye. It looks like a half of a pizza or something, but the whole thing looks like it has like, honestly, it looks like miniature people or miniature things could live here. Very small. I'm thinking, you know, maybe it's not even like that. Maybe it's like that small. Maybe they're so small it's why wouldn't it be? I kept thinking to myself, you know, and I'm just starting to come around to this theory. And like if you know my channel, I don't claim to know the facts about anything. I just speculate on things here. And hopefully you're thinking and maybe get your mind going and you can think of something else. You know, it's kind of interesting I think what we do here. I think that's why we get so many people watching these videos. Um, just because it strikes your mind a little bit. You got to open it up, think a little bit. This here was something to me really cool. Almost looked like a little statue piece, almost like a trophy or something. But if you look at this in terms of maybe a little city or something, it looks like it could be a little city. But everywhere you find it, and we're going to keep going through this picture here. I've only showed you this little piece here, and we're going to go up towards it. I hope you guys download this one and see what you can come up with yourselves, because this is just one that, especially my buddies who do this too. Christian, I'm going to have to send this to him. Olympus Guy, he's really good at actually going through this and deciphering what the junk is, because a lot of this, like this looks like this little piece is pushed out some. Let me see if I can't back it up just a little bit. I must have really opened up the, oh, down there, I see what I was doing. Edit backwards. Sorry guys. There we go. So that's right after I gave it that. Let me set it right back to the beginning. Okay. Now, see, it goes back to the blend. This is what the picture looks like. And you wouldn't even think anything, right? So let me come across here and just chop some of this stuff off here up. Let's do, you know, let's go from top to bottom, because down here is pretty interesting as well, especially with things like this. Um, you know, let's just show you. Like this, I didn't want to get into this whole picture just because you can see how messed up it is. All these, I think, are hieroglyphics or something like that that were once on these rocks, and anywhere you get it, you get that. Anything that looks cool, you start getting that pattern. Like check out some of the stuff down here, just the symmetry. Like this right here looks like a grate of some sort. It looks like those holes were drilled out somehow. I mean, I wouldn't know how else they would be made. Oh, there's my ridiculous amount. I've just cleaned that desktop off too. But look at that. I mean, that's kind of interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because you can see it right there. And they add this color too. See how the colors, this over here is the actual stuff from the rover. Like it almost looks like it has moss on it or something like that. And when they added that color, that dirt color, it starts looking like other, it starts blending the stuff in. But on a, you know, fairly smooth rock to have that on the front, it's pretty interesting how it just sits out. I mean, is that a worm or something? It actually looks like it's a some sort of writing character or something like that. Back up a little bit. I have a funny feeling this one's starting to go long. I know it's gonna. Oh well. Once again over here, like, let me do the whole picture again. Might as well just do the whole picture. Do it the auto color. So I think that definitely does help it stand out a little bit more. All right. This right here looks like a little perfect. It almost looks like a skull when I first saw it. It looks like a skull that's pointing this way, looking that way. But around it, once again, you get all this just with stuff that looks to seem like it comes down into circles, it comes down into like little triangles and all sorts of patterns here, and then it gets blurred where it comes out and we'd actually would have seen this looks like it would look like a fairly easy to tell, almost like a little see how actually here look at it, it looks like a rectangle that's in the middle is actually dug out. Up on top looks like there's things. Now the guy who sent me this picture, I think this was one that was originally sent to me because I'm looking at this piece right here. He had saw he had saw like a being holding something here, like a cross or something like that, and I just didn't see it. And then he actually sent me where he actually colored it in, and the way I saw it, I could see it 10 other different ways. But who's to say the way he saw it was. That's why I asked you guys for your comments, because who knows what this stuff is. It doesn't look natural to me. It looks like something, this was cut either huge pieces at one time, and it just looks like Mars took a huge cataclysm. And I've said that so many times over my videos that something happened there. Okay, this spot right here is pretty interesting too. So let me see if we can't get this piece to pop. Okay, because that's how it looks when it comes from the rover. Even look how perfect some of these cuts are there. And down here, this looks like this has been chopped off, but here had some, perfect. Could have been a huge statue at some time. But this right here caught my eye because it was just so many colors and how it was kind of boxy here with this little piece that came out of it. So let's take a look here and see if we can't just pull this one out. Image, auto contrast. Make it a little bit brighter first, bring it down with the tone. Now let's take a look at that. Make it a little bit bigger. Gosh, the way it gets so blurry just drives me nuts. When the first pictures, and I should go back to show you guys, some of the first pictures from Curiosity were amazing. I know there's probably dust on it, and that's some of the issues are like that, but not enough so it would look this bad. But hopefully you guys can see that. That's pretty cool. I just liked how that had it. It almost looks like a piece of machinery that was broken open, and some of the center of it was exposed to me, and that's why you get the different color in it. But look at the colors. I mean, even that it's there on this lens, no matter what. It almost looks like moss, looks like something. Now let's pull out a little bit. Hopefully you can see some of these. And in there, that kind of looked shaped and moved. Here, there's more of this stuff, just more of the, and I wanted to do the whole thing across so you could really see it, but just let me do the auto contrast on this, or auto color. Look at the shapes that are in this up here, like branches or something like that. Usually when on Earth you see those shapes like that, they're on biological living things. They're not necessarily like this. It's like I see something in here, there's a whole shape that comes down. To me, it looks like it was worked by a very small mini thing. Oh, and I have to show. I promised my mother. My mother was in here the other day. Said my father just passed away, and she's looking for something. Always looking for something to talk about or do. But this right here, she thinks this looks like a tractor. I was in here looking at this over and over. I'm like, gosh, this is interesting. And the more and more I looked at it, I guess it could look like some sort of vehicle or something like that. But I was thinking a little bit more along the lines of she saw. It looks like a face to me. Here's where my eyes went to first. But then she said, "Oh, that looks like a tractor tire right there. That looks like a tire. That looks like the front of it. It looks like the front of a truck or something like that." And, I can't say it doesn't. But it definitely looks odd. And the colors, how the colors are different in the two places, especially let me see, especially when you do it like that. Let me just step backwards one more time, and let's hit this whole area because this whole area just screams something's going on. All right. Because in this, it looks just like junk. It looks like, yeah, it looks like junk. It looks like a junkyard. But when you start playing with it, I know you can get to come out and pop a little bit more. So let's see if we can't pull up that gamma some. And that really starts, I think when you do the gamma, you start really seeing the patterns in this. Um, and this is how NASA hides the architecture on Mars. And whether it's huge, small, wherever you are on Mars, this is what it looks like in a lot of areas. And it's not everywhere. So I don't think that everything's civilized with everything, or the civilization doesn't live everywhere on Mars, but it sure does seem to be in certain places. Whether this is some of the rubble left or this is intelligently designed somehow, you can see the symmetry in so much of it. Like look at this right here. It looks like the circle of life that's been laid down on its side. This this rock right here looks has 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts in it. Um, as you move along it, and like I said, even up here you get some of the colors. Where was it? There was something up on the top. Maybe I missed it. So there we are, right there, where I think there's the thing my mother saw. I thought that was funny. Let's see, it was just, but I really this stuff does start. Like I said, if this is the first time you watched my video, you probably would have already clicked out here by now if you weren't interested in this stuff. And look how up here it just seems like the top of this was chopped off, and either that or it looks like on a sunny day there's heat coming off of stuff. I don't know. This could be like a little bit of a walkway up there, up through here. You can kind of see how people could get around if there was something like small beings there. But just you see that ruckus in it. Here you've got some interesting triangle thing there as it comes down. That was over top of that one piece I thought was cool. And like I said, this one's I'm going to leave for you guys. I hope that some of my, well, here we go. I missed a couple things over here I want to talk about. No matter where you go in this picture. All right, now, first off, this piece right here. This looks like a statue or something that was just sheer cut off. And it looks like it wasn't cut off that long ago. See how it looks round on the bottom, just slice like it's been taken off. Here, under this piece, you've got another piece that looks like it's beveled, just round. It looks like it belongs to something. And who knows what, but it looks like it belongs to something. Kind of interesting how that, if that was, this could have been, could have grown like that because it's up here like that too. But to me, a lot of these look like little pieces of something, whether they weren't originally here. This the shale here, the rock. This isn't what did it. Um, I really didn't point out the two couple things here. I like this here kind of gets me because if you put it in the right light, you can see two eyes and a mouth and like a little goblin guy or something hanging out on that cliff. It almost looks like a really cool statue. Well, a really creepy statue. I don't know if I'd want it in my house. And then let's just for giggles just auto color this part right there. Let me auto tone it first. Okay, that helps. That really helps you pull out how they're trying to hide some of this. Like here, once again, you can see the blur on the little goblin guy. See how it was blurred out there? Uh, that piece is so interesting to me. For some reason, that just, because this looks like it goes up to a circle and goes out here. It almost looks like a box, like it'd be a really ornate box. And then here you can just see more of how they hide stuff. Something here was interesting, whether it was different colors, whether something was going on in that area. And here you again need the blur on this. Check this piece out here. It almost looks like a face or something along those lines that's just laying on the ground. But you see how this is blurred out different than there. It's the same material. That's just what I think. Here it looks like you have an interesting thing where up at the bottom we got a lot of these circles, a lot of these hook type things on you find on Mars. And more of it here, there. Uh, that's kind of cool. How this comes down, it almost looks like the same type of blocks and it's got the same junk, almost like the same patterns right there. And then right there it almost does. But that's also mixed in with that piece that they do. They kind of put that chop line stuff. Like right here you get the chop line. Now check this right here. Okay. This is pretty like symmetrical. It looks like this is actually would have been the bottom of something and the top. Now here you've got these things that run off kind of like that, like they're hanging down and they run off. I don't know what to make of that. And it's also down here too. It's along here, and this was the one that comes down off the top rock, spins around, and then comes down like that. I mean, what does that? Was that a snake at one time? Is that a carving? You know. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go on this one. This was one of my favorites. Like I said, this right here was one of my favorite. It looks like the top of a block of something. It looks like it goes with these blocks down here. Because if you see the bottom piece, it looks like it had a very ornate cut to it. three cut, 1, 2, 3, and then a 1, 2, 3, and you can see where they've used those lines over top of it, telling me that they didn't want that seen, or that was supposed to be hidden in some of it. But all right, guys, what's up in the sky 37? My name is Will. Check it out. Come check out my website, www.whatsupinthesky.com. Some interesting stuff going on Mars. All sorts of good stuff going on up there. Hopefully the rover doesn't blow up soon. I got a funny feeling we're going to have some technical issues. I didn't point out some of the stuff up here. Like I said, if you go grab this picture, and you're going to get just as frustrated as I have with it. You know, look at these. When I was talking about the tubes and how things look like they're connected, just very interesting symmetry in all these rocks up here. Down here, you've got more of it. And stay tuned. I got some more Mars videos coming up. All the new sols. The ones after this from 579 are amazing. And they look like they got some huge blocks there, some interesting things that are hanging out just around the area. So we're gonna have some fun with that one. And I'm gonna do. I had made a mosaic, but it was so hard to make it. And after I did make it, it just didn't turn out right. So I'm gonna be definitely changing that up, and I'm gonna do one picture at a time. They deserve one picture at a time, I'll tell you what. All right, guys, much love. Take it easy. Peace. 21 minutes in. Woo.